Visiting Japan has been kind of the hype recently, and I hear lots of different opinions, pro and cons. Some travelers become fans of Japan, some travelers leave Japan, unfortunately without nothing much about it. So, is Japan still worth visiting? The answer depends on your travel plans and the choices you make. In the last video, I explained about the different regions of Japan and what to see. Just hopping popular spots to popular spot might not be that much fun anymore in this over-tourism. But don't worry, because Japan has a lot more to offer. To avoid being stuck in the hotel room or in the city, keep scrolling what to do next, or stuck in the train for a long time, designing your travel in advance is the key. So in this video, I'd like to go over some key factors that might help you to design your travel with some different sample itineraries from different regions. This is a part 2 of 30 travel tips of Japan, and this is about designing your travel. Do you plan everything before you arrive in Japan, or you are more spontaneous travelers? If you have a little bit of time, it might be helpful to plan a little bit of the travel or have a rough idea of the travel, at least a month before the travel, considering the booking time of the things. So to get the most out of your time and budget in Japan, planning starts from understanding how far you can actually go from the point you arrive in Japan. For example, Tokyo. Japan has lots of islands, so some detached island like Okinawa, you have to take airplane or ferries, but from the northern tip of Hokkaido, Wakkanai, to southern tip of Kyushu Island, Kagoshima, you can travel by trains. Japan might not be the big country, but it might be helpful to understand the distance from Wakkanai to the southern tip of Kagoshima is almost same as from London to Istanbul, or the state of Maine to the Key West in Florida. So you might get some idea that it might be a little bit difficult to travel in a few days from north to southern tip. So it is possible, but it will be very shallow trip. Like most of the time you'll be on the trains. For these, the most important thing is the time it takes more than the distance. So let's see the approximate time it takes for the major spot. From Tokyo to Kyoto, which is probably the most major route among international travelers, it takes 2 hours and 15 minutes. So if you don't consider the cost, actually you can even do a day trip from Tokyo. And in case you go to a limited express, like from Tokyo to Matsumoto, it takes 2 hours and 40 minutes. And for long distance buses, from Tokyo to Kagoshima, known for the Mount Fuji, is about 2 hours. So it is possible to do a day trip. But from Shinjuku to Kamikochi in the Japan Alps, it can take 5 hours. So it is impossible to do a day trip. You can decide where to go, seeing your schedule and time, and also the cost. Is it worth visiting, spending this much time and money? Especially the time. From my personal experience, I only have regret when I try to save money and decide not to do something or decide not to go somewhere and just ended up just staying in the hotel, because I thought around that time I can do it again, maybe in the future, but I have never done those things because I didn't have a chance to go to the country or the situation of the world changes. So for the more details about this budget and train tips, I'd like to talk about in the future topics of these 30 travel tips of Japan travel. And something important to know is there are some places that you can only access by cars, or I should say it is possible to visit by public transportation, but it can be very unrealistic. It can take so long, just the bus takes or waiting for the bus. And mostly the good place to rent a car is Hokkaido and Kyushu and Okinawa. And also near around Tokyo, the Mount Fuji area is also very difficult to get around by public transportations. If you have lots of time, it might be possible, but definitely it takes a lot longer by taking public transportation, and you have to skip lots of scenic places by taking buses. So if you have a choice of renting a car, that is something you can consider. And now let's see some sample itineraries that I came up with. First, let's go over the 2 types of the golden route. And the first one is a classic golden route. You go to Tokyo, Hakone, Kyoto, and Osaka. For example, in these 10 days topics, you have 3 days in Tokyo and 3 days in Kyoto. you can stay without moving around the suitcases. And this is like the typical courses that even the tours take. And you can see Mount Fuji from Hakone, you can see temples and old Japanese gardens in Kyoto, and you can see the cities in Tokyo. So for the first time visitors, this might be a good idea. And in case you like to go to more quiet places, you can add the different regions that I talk about later, or you can go to off the beaten path around the area you visit. Even in Tokyo, Kyoto, there are lots of quiet places. And second route is the New Golden Route. Sometimes it's called New Golden Route. It is a route going to Hokuriku and end up in Kyoto, same as the classic Golden Route. In this one, you take the Shinkansen to the north, Hokuriku Shinkansen, go to Nagano, Toyama, Kanazawa. So again, this is just a sample, and this is skipping Osaka and Hakone, and instead it's going to Kanazawa and Nagano. You can go to Toyama instead of Kanazawa, you can go to Fukui too. In this one, you can use the Hokuriku Arch Pass for 7 days. In this sample itinerary, you can start using on the day 3 and you can finish in day 10, coming back to Tokyo. The only thing is, you have to take this Hokuriku route. So when you come back from Kyoto to Tokyo, you cannot take Tokaido Shinkansen. You have to take this Hokuriku Shinkansen going around. So in case you like to see some different side of Japan, this is a good idea. And next case is it can be more easy for beginners. This is a Tokyo-based stay. This one, you only stay in Tokyo and you make some day trips or maybe a night trip. The great benefit of this is you don't have to move the hotel or move around the suitcase. When you arrive, you can open the suitcases and that's it until you leave Japan. So you can make any day trips. This one, as a sample, I chose Kamakura and Kawaguchiko near Mount Fuji. The great part of this day trip is you can decide when to go to the day trip, depends on the weather. So there's some difficulty of not making a reservation in advance. You have to take maybe local train instead of limited express because seat can be full booked. But still, it might be better than seeing the Mount Fuji in the rain. So if you need to see Mount Fuji, that's kind of good options. And so this one, you cannot see Kyoto or west side of Japan or other parts, but it's good idea maybe for someone who find it difficult to make a long distance travel and maybe who likes Tokyo especially. So in case you like to see more traditions and not much into Mount Fuji or Tokyo, there's also a choice to have the Kansai region like Kyoto and Osaka as a base. And this one, you can keep Osaka as a base and go to Kyoto, Nara, and Himeji Castle, or Mount Koya, or anywhere in Kansai region. And Kansai has a lot more variety of places, especially traditional one, next to each other, so you can see a lot more things. And Kyoto and Osaka is two major cities with lots of hotels, so you can change this Osaka base to Kyoto and visit Osaka from Kyoto too. If you like to enjoy nightlife, maybe it's good to stay in Osaka. If you like quiet night, maybe Kyoto is good. So now we went over the two major golden route and two ideas having the base in the major cities. If that is too boring for you, one idea is to add some off the beaten path area of Japan to either as an independent itinerary or add to those Tokyo-based itinerary or add to the golden route. And one idea is this alpine route going around the Japan Alps. And this one has lots of gems like nature and traditions, like Nagano, and you can see Zenkoji, you can go to Kanazawa, Toyama, Takayama, and nearby Shirakawa-go. And also, you can enjoy the Kamikochi in summer and Hirayu Hot Springs in winter time. You can see castle in Matsumoto too. So around this Alps circle is a great place to add to your major itineraries. And another idea is adding the Seotuchi route. This is a beautiful area with a coastal scenery with lots of islands. Go around this inner bay that are connected by ferries or bridges: Hiroshima, Onomichi, Matsuyama, Takamatsu, and some famous islands like Naoshima that are famous for the museums. This is a very fun area you can enjoy the bicycle riding and also ferry rides. Now let's see the driving route as an option. This is again you can add to the golden route or other trips. In this one, I like to do the driving route I actually have done for myself. And one route is the going around Mount Fuji area. This is a difficult course to go around by public transportation. So if you like to see Mount Fuji from different directions, it's a good idea to get a car. And second one is Hokkaido. It's definitely a place you can see a lot more by cars. There are many airports in Hokkaido, and I drove to the hotel in eastern side of the Hokkaido, and I drove through Biei and drove up to the north to Cape Soya. As it said, it's 14 hours. I did 3 nights in between, and I still felt very busy. So probably it's better to have a little more stop on the way. Hokkaido, you can travel around by train too, but it's where you can see is very limited, and most of the observatories and quiet forests is only accessible by cars and no public transportation. So Hokkaido is definitely some places you can consider about getting a car. Kyushu has lots of train lines, but if you are thinking of going across the hot springs or going to Aso Mountains, it's a good idea to have a car. Now, did you find any favorite itineraries or ideas came up to you? There are lots of things to consider, but I hope you enjoy the process of making itinerary. Doing research about the important places and visa is important, but binge watching can not be a good idea. Nothing like you're visiting in person. By not seeing too much, you can also avoid unnecessary disappointment. For example, Mount Fuji never looked like this. Having the expectation is great, but not too much expectation. So it's good to see as an art and entertainment, but not as a reference for your travel. And also, by not seeing too much information, you can avoid unnecessary anxiety. For example, you might see lots of different videos about Japan, but you don't get arrested just by being the regular tourist. And every time I see someone say good about Japan, I see the comments like, but it's very different if you live there. But you don't live here, right? Even if you live here, it's all about what you do and who you are. Japan's problem is not your problem, so you don't have to worry too much about it, and you can get more excited about your Japan trip. So I'm sure you will be okay, but in this time of the flood of the short contents and different informations and fake news, AI is coming up. In my opinion, I think it's very important you enjoy your travel planning and see things in your eyes. So now you know where to go, but before you finalizing your travel itinerary, there's one thing you might want to check, and that is the seasons of Japan. And Japan has 4 seasons, and depends on when you come to Japan, your experience can be really different. I want to say any season is amazing, but there is a good season and not so good season. So in the next video, I'd like to explain the best season to visit. And also, in case you cannot visit in the best season, I'd like to show you some solutions that you can still enjoy Japan trip. Thank you for watching. Have a great trip to Japan.